A long time ago, before the internet, well, not that long ago, before cell phones, well, not that long ago either, still it was a long time ago, before social media, no, not that long ago either. I was born as Jonathan S. Myers in Scranton, PA on May 30th, 1958 in Mercy Hospital. This is a story to shift the mindset of America and the world. It's about me and it is about you. This is a story so deep as to bring up magical lessons that I learned and ones that you and the world need right now.
The Scranton of its time was a special place, and even among special places, Jon had a special beginning. His two sets of grandparents, Samuel Doc and Libby Myers, and Morris and May Gelb, lived back to back on Madison and Monroe Avenues. Doc, as the story goes, became a doctor at the age of 23. And Morris became a successful banker and a lawyer after arriving in this country penniless. The immigrant grandfathers found success in this country, but it was the grandmothers who outlived them all. Both Libby and May lived to be over 100 years old. Few people, if any, would have two grandmothers who lived a whole century right next to one another. And they were true Jewish grandmothers. Both were great cooks, and as was Jewish tradition, they were identified by their soups. Libby, pea soup with hard salami, and May, chicken soup with matzo balls. The marriage of their children, Maury Mayer Myers and Sandra Gelb, was a Scranton event extraordinaire, with 600 people in attendance. As the firstborn son of this prominent family, Jon felt the weight of the world on his shoulders, and his road to his destiny was a long and winding one. School was at the legendary James Madison. The streets and alleys between home and school became lessons unto themselves. When Jon was in 4th grade, James Madison merged with the Washington School and its scores of African American students. The playground came alive. There was such energy and beauty in a diverse school population. Maury traveled to the South to fight for civil rights and made a connection with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The lessons learned from this heritage imbued young Jon with a sense of fairness and equality. From James Madison to Scranton Central to the Golden Eagles football team and more. As President Joe Biden has noted, the Scranton of its time had an intensity and sense of value to it. In the freewheeling times of the 70s and 80s, new parts of Jon's spirit and soul were unearthed while at Oberlin College. On one summer trip to Los Angeles, Jon found his professional calling while working at a hardcore drug rehab center run by a mentor, Brian McDonnell. This work sparked a lifelong commitment to being of service to society. Upon graduation, Jon's personal and professional life took root in Cambridge, Massachusetts. He worked with racially diverse young people, from an award-winning program with the Cambridge Housing Authority to city council and running a nonprofit. Jon prioritized economic opportunity for diverse youth. Being of service to others is a binding element in Jon's life and work. But this was just an acorn planted, along with his previous values. Jon had no idea how his fundamental values would be tested, providing him with the opportunity to grow from boy to man. While there were undercurrents, there was no clear warning of the enormous storm that was about to hit. This is where the story goes from good to great, although it could have been atrocious. The vast array of forces lined up to attack Jon were astounding. It was the perfect storm, truly epic. Sadly, there was seething rage from Jon's younger brother David. And then the cracks in Jon's marriage began, from the wonderfully challenging environment of Greater Boston to his family, divorce, and family court. Everything hit at once. Therein lies the beauty. That acorn of goodness and fairness that had been planted during Jon's childhood could have been tossed to the wind. But as Jon's daughter Sophia said, it was in that moment that Jon chose to dig in. Greatness does not come about by merely thinking of ideas. True greatness comes about because our values are challenged, and we must work, struggle, and appropriately fight for them against great odds. Because Jon chose not to yield to the storm, the acorn took root and grew and grew. That growth was primarily in the form of goodness and related qualities. Stubbornness became determination, anxiousness became calm, and judgment became respect and compassion. Because the storm lasted 26 years, progress was often tiny, and Jon's internal development prepared him for commensurate outward success. It was from this mesmerizing prism of challenge, growth, and discovery that Jon developed insights for America and the world. Jon was exposed to the true source of America's ills, and like a spiritual doctor, produced remedies. Remedies that will restore what is good, right, and just about America. Jon saw that we are not operating with full honesty in our systems, beginning with our cherished legal system and spreading to our financial, political, healthcare, and yes, our media systems. Jon speaks with love. There is little or no condemnation, but for the worst of the worst. We live with too much condemnation. Jon speaks and works with loving encouragement based on the principles of fairness, honesty, and empathy. Most of us want to be rich, successful, even famous. There is nothing wrong with those goals. Amen. Set aside our fears of attracting wealth and accept the notion that most people want it and deserve good things. The caveat is that these aims must be accomplished fairly, honestly, and with a sense of helping America and the world. It is not true that our races want division. It is America's systems themselves that can further, if not create, division. For most, life is challenging enough without creating onerous weights of division for us to carry. The new America need realize our basic virtue and work in a supportive fashion for our shared success. The success of individuals defines the success of society, and vice versa. We must not think in terms of either or. We must believe in and. Courts can reinstitute fairness and hold those truly egregious accountable. Banks can make profits and help rebuild America. The media can pursue its ratings and hold the standard of compassionate fairness for all Americans. Our healthcare system can protect its domain and begin its business model with a dedication to service for its patients.
The new America will become the land of the and, rejecting false choices, moving towards the opportunity most of us desire and deserve. We can understand that our systems are outdated, yet our principles of liberty and justice for all are terrific. And yet we must shift our mindset. The new mindset moves us away from condemnation and towards support, away from win-lose and towards win-win. Life is challenging enough for ordinary Americans. Our systems cannot weigh people down. They must inspire and lift us up. This is the way of the new America. And what happened to me? Well, I developed the Myers mindset. As the world's best mediator, I offer training for companies, mediation for families, and coaching for individuals so that you can reach a higher level of interaction and performance based on these profound breakthroughs. You can become one of the true winners in society, those committed to your success and the success of others. Do the work. Go to our website, theworldsbestmediator.com, and find one of the training, coaching, or mediation programs that suits you. as you can become one of the true leaders in society and reach the goals that you, your organization, and or family have for yourselves.
America and the world are at a challenging place. My name is Tiffany Lewis. I am proud to work with Jon Myers and our illustrious team, including Jon Myers, Devika Joglekar, Q. Lee Choi, Leanna Sullivan, Jim Warren, Dawn Magee, Hedras Ramos, Morris Kyler, Ginger Nguyen, Elaine Chung, and Kristen Bevilacqua to bring out a story to shift the mindset of America and the world. I also represent that our stories and our voices matter. It is our imperative to listen to and respect one another, our voices, and our stories. And now, Q. Lee Choi.
When you doubt everything in your life, you don't know what to believe, and you don't know what to do. When you think you are alone, when you can't find your voice, don't you hear me calling your name? For us, the new America, the new America, one for another, we're here for you. The new America, the new America, I found my greatness. We can change everything. I found my voice. You found